We sold everything we owned to travel the world full time. And in just 90 days, we learned lessons we wish we'd known before we left the U.S.
By the end of this video, you'll know what worked, what didn't, and how to prepare before you make the leap.
Hi, we are Sean and Tina. We retired early, sold almost everything, and now traveling the world full time. We will show you how you can live abroad comfortably on $2,500 a month with real budgets, tips, and destinations that can make retirement affordable and exciting. So, hit that subscribe button and see how you can retire sooner, travel longer, and live more.
So the first thing we want to discuss today is our expectations versus reality.
So what went well? So first of all, finding freedom. Obviously, being retired, we now have a lot of time on our hands, so we were able to do pretty much whatever we want to do. I think the next item that really went well for us was learning new cultures, traveling to different parts of the world. For us, it was a lot of fun.
It's like a traditional thing. Like we usually take one and give it to the God, and we prayed it because they believe that if you have the red things in your hand, the God will listen to you. It's like a speaker for you to them.
Okay.
So you bring one, you can take one, and you go give it to the God. You don't need to pray. You just show your respect. You don't need to pray. You can ask for goodness for this trip. I will ask for you. I wish both my friends will have a good trip. You can pray for you. You can pray for your family, your loved ones, your friends, everyone. There's no limit. If they are God, they help everyone, not just different region.
And I think finally, going along with that would be new cities. Everywhere you go, it's going to be new. So you have to go through the process of learning where the grocery store is, learning where restaurants are. So for us, that's a lot of fun, once we land to our new destination to try to figure out, where everything is and kind of map out the city so we'll know where to go to get what.
So feeling overwhelmed at first when you land in a new place, for most, I know for me, this is something that pretty much happens all the time. So you kind of need to not overplan your day, just kind of take it easy. Like Sean said, just kind of map out, the city a little bit before getting started so you won't feel so overwhelmed. And also something that I didn't do in the past, you need to give yourself some rest days and maybe take naps. We find ourselves doing that a little bit more often than what we thought we would.
Yeah, I guess being over 50 took a little bit more of a toll on us than we thought it would. Particularly after, you go through a 20-hour travel day. So yeah, that can definitely work on you.
Yeah.
So we just arrived in Seoul, Korea. Our flight was 12 hours. So we are just a little tired right now. The time here is 5:05 p.m. and we have about an hour and 50-minute layover before we board to Da Nang. And we should arrive in Da Nang at 9:05 p.m. So, Sean, you got anything?
Yeah, so when we wrap this travel day up, I think all total we will have traveled about 25 hours. So, when you start this international travel journey, just understand it's going to be some long days in the office.
10 or 15-minute power nap, it really helps you to get your day going. So
game changer. Some of the ways we've tried to manage this adjustment period is we try to plan for a couple of days to kind of give ourselves, a mental adjustment period. That typically is about 2 days. For us to get familiar with our surroundings. In some cases, you're going to have to be getting familiar with the climate. In Southeast Asia, humidity can definitely be a real factor to adjust to. So we try to take that time, early on, the first couple of days, to try to make that adjustment. We also maybe limit some of the things we're going to try to do. When you're on vacation, typically when you arrive, you're immediately trying to jump into action. So as a slow traveler, that time you don't really need that, because you're going to be there for an extended period of time. So you can give yourself, a couple of days to get up, have a leisurely breakfast, maybe lounge around and, catch up on your rest. So that is something that we found has helped us out a lot. And then don't expect to feel settled right away. I mean, you're in a new country, you're in new surroundings. So, there's going to be a period of adjustment and disorientation that you'll need to work through. So just be aware of that.
So the next one we have is budget and cost reality.
As you would imagine, budget and cost reality is going to be a big one, because consider this: you're going to a destination you've never been. So from a budget standpoint, you're looking at putting together numbers that you're really estimating, right? So from a budget standpoint, one of the biggest expenses you're going to have is going to be accommodations. So what we've tried to do to make sure that works out is long stays. I think we've talked about this in other videos where we're staying in Airbnbs. 28 plus days allows us to reduce our costs for accommodations.
And also, the next thing you may want to consider is using credit card reward points. This will really help lower the cost of accommodations as well. Using hotel points to even stay for a couple of days prior to you getting to your actual destination. So things like this can always be a way for you to save money.
Yeah, and we have a video where we talk about how we accumulated our hotel points. You may want to check that out if you hadn't seen it. Another thing we do, and we recommend everyone do, is track your expenses. When it comes to budgeting and controlling costs, you've got to track your expenses. We track everything we spend. There's an app we use called Travel Spend, and allows us we do it real time. So for example, we go out to eat at a restaurant. When we pay the ticket, before we leave the table, we enter that expense into Travel Spend, and that allows us to track everything.
And keeping a track of our spendings, this was not something new to us. We did it back at home, so doing it while we're traveling is just like everything business as usual.
Yeah, and I would say for those of us who are newly retired, I traveled a lot for work, so it reminds me of being at work, because I used to have to do this all the time anyway, so it works out perfect.
So sometimes while traveling, you can experience some unexpected costs. That could be laundry during your hotel stay. That could be travel fees. And what I mean by travel fees, when we travel between countries, we do use budget airlines. And sometimes there's some, I want to say hidden costs, but it could be like administrative costs. So by the time you get to the end in your total, it may be about maybe $35, $40 more. But just be prepared for those additional plus that they have on the budget airlines. Also, baggage costs. Sometimes you may not be expected to check a bag, but depending on which airline you go on, you may have to check it. So be prepared for that. And just any additional costs that may come up, just always keep that in the back of your mind, because things do happen.
Yeah, and these are typically things that you hadn't accounted for in your budget. I'll give another example is, when we were in a lot of locations, we look for convenience foods, from the West. And
foods we can't do without.
Yeah, most of the time, those are a little bit more expensive than the local items. I know, for example, grapes There were grapes, I remember in Ho Chi Minh City, they were a little more expensive than we were used to paying. And I think certain nuts that we like from home, they were a little bit more expensive too. So some of these things, you know, they may be surprising, and you may not have budgeted for them, but just be aware that, you know, some of those things can come up and will.
And cost you just a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, one way to protect yourself from blowing your budget out of the water is to have an emergency fund. That will allow some of these, you know, when these fees come up unexpectedly, you won't be so surprised, you know, and upset that your budget has been blown.
So another thing that comes to mind is accommodations and comfort.
One of the big things that comes to my mind when it comes to accommodations is the location. You know, we're looking at it from a cost standpoint, so that's critical, and also from a comfort standpoint. So when we factor in all of that, a lot of times we're wanting to be obviously in a location that's going to be walkable for us. It may not be in the city center, but it won't be far from it. And that gives us an opportunity to be able to walk to restaurants, walk to local attractions. So the location is something that you definitely want to consider when you're looking at accommodations.
Take the time out to look at the reviews. I think that's very important to do. Just kind of have your list of what your needs are in an accommodation, and then just go and kind of scan through those reviews and look at them. I also look for ratings on cleanliness of the accommodations, whether or not the accommodations have Wi-Fi. And you know, Wi-Fi is pretty much a must. I'm sure that would be on everybody's list. And also what I find myself doing, if there's a place I really like, I will go ahead and message the host to kind of ask a few questions to kind of see what their response time will be getting back to me. This will kind of help me to know what that will be during my stay.
Right. Now, something we've learned as we've traveled is underestimating the impact of noise near your accommodations. I know in one location we lived with the locals, and maybe if you saw some of our other videos, a lot of those locals have businesses in their homes. So early in the morning, they will be getting those businesses open and getting ready for business. And a lot of times we weren't awake at that time that they started opening up for business. So just be aware that that's something that you may want to factor in. And also something else, it was, and it's hard to know that, you know, when you're booking online. And something else is that we had some experiences with that didn't go so well was weak internet. That's another one that, I mean, obviously you won't be aware of until you come to the property, but just some things that we've experienced.
Yeah, and the weak internet wasn't so bad. It wasn't inside the workspace. It was, I think, it was out on the balcony.
Right.
But you know, when you're sitting out, you kind of want your phone with you. But we figured out how to make that work. But you know, if we wanted to work outside on the balcony, that was not happening. So, yeah, just keep those things in mind. So there's a few things we want you to take away on the accommodations and the comfort. We would suggest creating a checklist for your accommodations, and just kind of have that lined out. So every time you go to look for your accommodations, you can just kind of check those things off. The next thing would be, as I mentioned, messaging your host and just seeing how long they take to get back with you. That is very important, especially once you get there on the property. You kind of want to know that ahead of time.
Yeah, and something else that we've seen other travel YouTubers mention, we haven't done it yet, particularly this way, is they will schedule a short hotel stay in their destination. So maybe 1 or 2 days. That allows them, if they're looking for an Airbnb, to get their boots on the ground, and you can go and physically look at the locations you're considering and take into consideration the Wi-Fi speeds, maybe look around to see, if there are any businesses that might affect your sleep. But this is a way that you can avoid, some of these pitfalls by actually going and visiting and actually meeting with the host or the person that's going to be taking care of you while you're in the Airbnb. So that's something that you might want to consider.
Yeah, and staying in that hotel for a few days also allows you to take your checklist with you.
Right.
And you can see it in person and mark it off. And if it's not something you're looking for, then just move on to the next location. So one thing I do want to point out is we actually did this ourselves. Before we left our last accommodation, we knew that we would be going back to this city next year. So we decided to get out a few days and go around and look. We called ahead of time, made appointments, and we went and looked at the accommodation.
So while we are here in Nha Trang, and we know that next year we will be coming back, we decided to come and look at some accommodations for next year. So let's take a look. We're about to go in now.
Once you're there, in this example, we found an accommodation that fit all of our criteria. And then we were able to look around that neighborhood because we like to have a gym. And so we were able to find a gym that was right across the street from the Airbnb. So this allows you really to be a lot more comfortable with your accommodations and the host that's going to be hosting you.
So next we want to talk about just your daily life and your routine. So when we arrive at our accommodations, look for local markets. And also we want to make sure that we kind of feel like we're still at home. And this is one way to do that. If you keep your daily routine, it'll make you not to get overwhelmed as well too. Yeah. So just having everything planned out really helped us a lot.
Yeah, and one thing I like to do as we're making our plans, I typically, once we find accommodations and we're satisfied with the location, I'll go into Google Maps and I'll start pinning different locations for restaurants, grocery stores. I'll look for a church. If our accommodations doesn't have a gym, I'll look for that. So I basically set up our neighborhood on Google Maps before we get there. So once we land, we can start to get familiar with the area. And that allows us to kind of set up our routine. Now, when it comes to your routine, I brought some things from home with me as I travel. I think I may have mentioned in one of our other videos, I have a Kindle that I travel with, and I like to read. So having a Kindle, it allows me, obviously, by being retired, I have a lot more time, and that gives me a lot more time to read. So that's one of the things in my daily routine that I do every day that I carried from home?
And for me, I am still looking for that so-called outlet. You know, I found it difficult. I in my previous before retirement, I worked from home, and I was self-employed. So I had a lot of things to do. And for the ones of you that do work from home, you understand what I'm saying. You know, you have the opportunity to get up and do a little cleaning or meal prep before time, go outside and do the flower bed or whatever. That is where I found my joy at. But now that we do not have a home and we are traveling full time, I have nothing to kind of divert that to. So, you know, I think about it and, you know, this is real life for me, and I have not found that particular thing to fill my day throughout the day. So, you know, if you're here and you're watching this video and we're kind of in the same situation as me and you got some recommendations for me, please drop those in the comments. I'm really looking for ways to kind of fill my day while Sean's reading.
So our recommendation is establish a daily routine. You know, that'll give you some sense of normalcy. You know, for us, it's going to the gym every morning. That kind of helps us get our day started. We know we're going to do that every day, so that works out great. And then, you know, we do other things. We work on our YouTube channel. I read. But there's those things help us adjust to each location because we do those same things every day, no matter where we are.
And just remember to give yourself a little grace. You know, slow travel is not a vacation.
Right.
It's a lifestyle that you've chosen. So it's just something you got to get used to, and you eventually will. Next thing we want to talk about, and this is my favorite, is connection and community.
For us, we found that meeting locals through local tours, local expat groups, and also church has helped us to, you know, connect with other people and people who are local that can help us kind of learn to navigate around the city.
And also, you know, we take advantage of communities. Facebook group has some communities, and I will share that on the screen. And we also have our YouTube After 40 community. I'll also share that on the screen as well.
Yeah. We've been able to stay connected with family and friends through video calls. We use WhatsApp, and that has allowed us to, you know, stay connected, obviously, with everybody from home, and it lets them know, you know, that you're still doing okay, which I think means a lot to them, especially those who don't understand this travel lifestyle.
And I also want to recommend before you leave home is to join just one or just two maybe local communities on Facebook group or any social media platform that you feel comfortable with. And they will normally give you a good bit of information about where you may be going, and it gives you the opportunity to meet up with them, to have dinner, and it will automatically give you instant connection with friends.
Yeah, that's been a game changer for us as well.
Yeah, friends that do exactly what you do.
Right.
So from our experience, there are a few tips that we want to leave with you, and these are our biggest lessons and advice. So the first one is find a community. This is so important. They will become your family that you left behind.
Yeah. And the next one is create a daily routine. This will give you that feeling that you're still at home.
And be flexible. Plans will change, and you will just have to learn to adjust.
Yeah, and learn to love the freedom. I mean, this is your new life, so you might as well learn to love it.
And guys, it's okay if you do not have it all figured out. You will learn by living it. We are still learning while we are traveling. And, you know, we've realized that it takes a little adjustment, a little getting used to, and just adapting to your new lifestyle. So, we just wanted to share with you in this video what we've learned so far along the way.
And hopefully this will make your adjustment a little easier. If you have any questions about slow travel, please drop them in the comments. We may answer those questions in our upcoming Q&A.
And if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It will really help our channel to grow, and it will let us know that you want to continue to receive information that we share about our journey.
Thanks for watching.